In a land where the whispers of ancient spirits danced with the winds and the vibrant colors of life filled every corner, a tale begins. This is no ordinary story, but one of love, a love that crosses oceans, cultures, and tradition. But no one ever imagined that such a love would spring from a chance meeting between an adventurous American woman named Clara and a prince, Kofi, weighed down by his own royal duties. Beneath the moon's watchful eye and the golden African sky, their journey unfolds. A journey filled with love, discovery, and challenges they never saw coming. Clara Johnson had always felt out of place in her small Georgia town, while her friends were content with the quiet, predictable life of their rural community. Clara was always dreaming of distant lands, faraway cultures, and adventures that went beyond the boundaries of her hometown. From a young age, she would pore over travel books and documentaries, feeling the call of places she had never been but longed to experience. As she grew older, that sense of wanderlust only deepened. Her days were filled with work and responsibilities, but in her free time, she saved money and planned for the day she could finally leave her familiar world behind. When she heard about a vibrant Maasai village in Africa, nestled among mountains and rivers, it was as if a light had been switched on inside her. Something about the village spoke to her. Its culture, its people, and the stories of ancient traditions that seemed to come alive in her imaginations. After months of preparation, the day finally came. Clara boarded a plane with a heart full of excitement, leaving her small town behind, ready to embrace the unknown. When she landed in the village, the air was warm and the landscape spread before her like a vivid painting. Bright red and orange clothes worn by the villagers, the deep green of the trees, and the shimmering blues of the rivers that cut through the land. Music floated through the air, accompanied by the laughter of children playing and the clatter of villages going about their daily routines. Clara's eyes widened in a wonder as she took in the scene. The village was alive in ways she had only dreamed about. Women carried baskets on their heads, men laughed and walked in groups, and a sense of community seemed to bind everyone together. She admired the way the villagers moved with ease, each part of the day flowing into the next with a rhythm that felt timeless. But as she explored the village, Clara couldn't shake a sense of restlessness, even as she admired the colors and culture around her. Something inside her felt incomplete. She had come seeking adventure, but she felt as though she was searching for something more, something deeper that she couldn't yet name. One afternoon, Clara decided to venture beyond the village. The forest that surrounded the area beckoned to her with its thick trees and mysterious shadows. Drawn by a sense of curiosity and a desire for solitude, she followed a narrow path that wound its way into the heart of the forest. The air was cooler here, and the sounds of the village faded into the distance, replaced by the soft rustling of leaves and the occasional call of a bird. As she walked deeper into the woods, Clara stumbled upon a small clearing. There, sitting on a large rock, was a young man, lost in the music he played on a wooden flute. The sound was gentle and haunting, the kind of melody that seemed to speak directly to the soul. Clara stood at the edge of the clearing, captivated by the music. She didn't want to interrupt, but something about the young man and his song drew her closer. The young man was Prince Kofi, heir to the nearby kingdom. Unlike most people in his position, Kofi often sought solace in nature, away from the pastures of royal life. He was more than just a prince. He was also a guardian of the ancient wisdom passed down through generations. But on this day, Kofi was simply a man enjoying the peace of the forest and the sound of his flute. After a moment of hesitation, Clara stepped forward and her voice soft but clear. "Your music is beautiful," she said, offering a warm smile. Kofi opened his eyes, surprised to see her, but not alarmed. He returned her smile, his eyes gentle. "Thank you," he replied. "Music has a way of speaking when words cannot. But what brings you here, so far from the village?" Clara blushed slightly, feeling a little out of place. "I came here seeking adventure, but I think I'm looking for something more than that," she admitted. "I'm not sure what it is yet, though." Kofi looked at her thoughtfully. Sometimes what we are searching for isn't something we can see right away. It takes time for the heart to understand its own desires. From that moment, the conversation between Clara and Kofi flowed easily, as if they had known each other for much longer than a few minutes. They spoke about their lives, Clara sharing stories of her small town upbringing and the excitement of New York City, and Kofi telling her about the traditions and history of his people. Clara learned that Kofi was not only a prince, but also burdened by the expectations of his royal lineage. He was expected to marry someone from within the kingdom to fulfill his duties as heir to the throne. Despite these responsibilities, Kofi found comfort in his conversations with Clara. They met frequently, often exploring the forest together or sitting beneath the shade of the ancient baobab tree. Each meeting deepened their bond, and Clara began to see that her restlessness was fading, replaced by the warmth and connection she felt with Kofi. But as their relationship grew, Clara couldn't ignore the weight of the differences between them. She was from a distant land, and he was bound by royal tradition. One afternoon, as they sat beneath the baobab tree, Clara voiced her concerns. "What if your people don't accept me, Kofi? I'm just a visitor here, a stranger. How could I ever belong in your world?" Kofi turned to her, his dark eyes filled with sincerity. He gently took her hand in his, his touch warm and reassuring. "Love knows no boundaries, Clara," he said. "It doesn't care where we come from or what titles we carry. You have already captured my heart, and I will fight for us." Clara's heart swelled with emotion, but she knew the path ahead would not be easy. They were from different worlds, and the challenges they would face would be great. Yet in that moment, as they sat beneath the towering baobab tree, Clara felt a sense of peace, knowing that they would face whatever came together. As Clara and Kofi's bond deepened, whispers spread through the village. The elders, worried about Kofi's affection for an outsider, warned him that tradition must be upheld, and that marrying Clara would bring chaos to their land. But Kofi was determined to be with her, so he sought the wisdom of Mama Zola, the village eldest and most revered spiritual guide. Entering her humble home, the smell of herbs filled the air as Mama Zola greeted him. "You come seeking answers, young prince," she said knowingly. Kofi nodded, his face troubled. "I love Clara, but the elders won't accept her. How can I make them to see that our love is true?" Mama Zola studied him for a moment before speaking. "Love is strong, but tradition is powerful. To win their acceptance, you must prove the strength of your bond through the spirits. The spirits of this land guard the hearts of the river, a sacred gem that symbolizes pure love. To show your people that your love is worthy, you must retrieve it. But beware, the journey will be perilous." Kofi's heart raced, but his resolve did not waver. I'll do whatever it takes. What must I do? Mama Zola's eyes gleamed with ancient wisdom. You must find the heart of the river, hidden deep within the sacred waters and guarded by the water spirits. Only those whose love is pure can succeed. Before Kofi could leave, Mama Zola gave him a warning. The journey will test every part of you, and the spirits may not be kind. Be brave and let your love guide you. That evening, Kofi told Clara about the challenge ahead. I have to find the heart of the river to prove our love, but it's dangerous. I don't want you to risk your life. Clara's response was immediate. We're in this together, Kofi. I'm not afraid. Kofi hesitated. The water spirit is unpredictable. I can't let you be hurt. But Clara stood firm. I love you. And that means facing whatever challenges lie ahead together. Realizing he couldn't dissuade her, Kofi nodded. We'll leave the first light. At dawn, Clara and Kofi set out for the sacred river, the quiet of the forest surrounding them. As they reached the river bank, Kofi turned to Clara, his face serious. This is where our test begins. The water spirit guards the heart of the river, and we must prove our love. Clara nodded, determined. Together they waded into the river. Suddenly the water spirit emerged, her form shimmering like the water itself. Why do you disturb my waters? She asked. We seek the heart of the river to prove our love, Kofi replied. The water spirit's eyes narrowed. Love is powerful, but it must be proven. You must pass 3 trials to earn the heart. The river shifted, and they found themselves facing a wise tortoise and a sly fox. The tortoise spoke slowly. What's the strongest force in the universe? Clara, after a moment of thought, stepped forward. Love is the strongest force. It brings people together and overcomes all obstacles. The tortoise nodded approvingly, and the fox scowled. You have passed the first trial, the tortoise said. Next, they stood at the dark part of the river, where a glowing pearl lay deep beneath the surface. The water was colder and the current stronger, but Clara and Kofi entered the water together, fighting against the force. With great effort, Clara reached the pearl and brought it to the surface. The water calmed and they passed the second trial, the trial of the heart. For the final trial, the water spirit appeared again, her voice solemn. Now you must face the trial of the heart. Dark visions surrounded them. Clara saw herself lost and alone, far from home, while Kofi saw himself trapped in royal duties, unable to be with Clara. But instead of succumbing to fear, they turned to each other, their hands clasped tightly. We're stronger together, Kofi said. Yes, no fear can tear us apart, Clara agreed. Their love banished the dark visions, and the water spirit smiled. You have proven your love. The heart of the river is yours. She patted the waters, revealing the glowing gem, which Kofi took. Together they set off to return to the village. As the water spirit led Clara and Kofi deeper into the river, the air around them shifted. Suddenly, they found themselves before a wise tortoise and a cunning fox, both seated on stones near the water's edge. The first trial is the trial of wisdom, the tortoise said slowly. Answer this. What is the strongest force in the universe? Clara and Kofi exchanged glances, their minds racing. Finally, Clara stepped forward. Love. Love is the strongest force. It can move mountains, heal wounds, and unite even those from different worlds. The tortoise nodded Satisfied, you have passed the first trial. The folks, clearly displeased, slinked away, and the waters around them began to swirl, carrying them to the next challenge, the trial of strength. The water turned colder, darker. Before them, beneath the surface, a glowing pearl shimmered at the bottom of a deep, icy pool. "This is the trial of strength," Kofi whispered. "We must retrieve the pearl." Without hesitation, Clara and Kofi waded into the freezing water. The strong current fought against them, and the cold beat at their skin. But they pressed forward, side by side. Each step was a struggle, the water pulling them back, but their determination pushed them forward. Clara's fingers finally closed around the pearl, and the current instantly slowed. With the pearl in hand, they emerged from the water, their breaths heavy but victorious. They had passed the second trial. For the final trial, the water spirit appeared once more, her expression unreadable. "Now you must face the trial of the hearts." As she spoke, the water around them began to ripple, and dark visions swirled in the air. Clara saw herself alone in a foreign land, while Kofi saw himself trapped in his royal duties, unable to be with Clara. These visions tugged at their deepest fears. But instead of yielding to the fear, Kofi took Clara's hand. "We are stronger together," he said, his voice steady. Clara nodded, gripping his hand tightly. "Nothing can come between us." Their love shone like a beacon, pushing away the darkness. The water spirits, seeing their bond, smile. "You have proven the strength of your love," she said softly. "The heart of the river is yours." With a wave of her hand, the waters parted, revealing the glowing gem. Kofi took the heart of the river, holding it close as they prepared to return to the village. As Kofi and Clara returned to the village, they believed their quest had proven their love. Kofi presented the heart of the river to the elders, confident they had earned acceptance. The villagers gathered, their eyes wide in awe of the legendary gem, but the elders' faces remained grave. "You have retrieved the heart of the river, Prince Kofi," one elder said. "But it is not a simple symbol. By removing it, you have disrupted the balance with the spirits. They are angered, and there will be consequences." Clara felt a chill. "We didn't know," she said. "We thought this would show our love." The elder shook his head. "The heart of the river is sacred, not to be disturbed. The spirits demand retribution. For the safety of the village, you and Clara must leave." "Leave?" Kofi repeated, shocked. "We meant no harm. There must be a way to fix this." "The damage is done," another elder responded. "The spirits will not rest while you remain here." The villagers began to murmur, torn between tradition and sympathy. Kofi's father, the king, stepped forward, his face filled with regret. "My son, I have always supported you, but you must go for now. The will of the people and the spirit is clear." Kofi's heart broke, but he knew there was no argument to be made. He looked at Clara, and they exchanged a glance of determination. "We'll leave," Kofi said, "but we'll come back. We'll find a way to restore balance and return." With that, Kofi and Clara packed what they could carry and walked through the village for what could be the last time. The villagers watched in silence, some avoiding their gaze, others filled with pity. At the village's edge, Kofi looked back one last time before turning to Clara. "We'll go to your own town in America," he said. "We'll figure this out and come back." Clara nodded. "Together, we can do anything." Hand in hand, they left the village behind, setting off on a new journey, determined to return stronger and restore what had been lost.